I don't know how the hell they got in here. Maybe someone put them there.
Man, we get Shark Week. Now they got Shark Night in 3D. We're gonna get like the Shark Christmas special or Shark Month,
Shark Christmas, yeah.
the Shark National Holiday. You know?
Shark Week Halloween special.
Yeah, when is a shark gonna replace like somebody on a dollar bill, George Washington?
Hey, man, that's the only time Animal Planet makes some money. They would love to have that.
Yeah.
Shark Month.
Sharks are their bread and butter.
The year of the shark.
And believe me, this movie,
A shark for president.
No, yeah, why not? Shit. And some people out there saying, "Hey, you got a black man in, why not a shark?" You know.
It'd be nice to go see a Shark Night 3D movie actually in 3D, which
Isn't that what y'all did?
I thought I was paying for tonight.
Well, you know what? That's the funny thing about this movie. I stood perplexed in front of the little ticket vendor machine for about a good 2 minutes because I looked at the title and it said Shark Night in 3D in 2D. That is not a lie, and that is not a joke. And I stood there thinking, like, okay, where's the 3D movie? Because which one is this? Because there's really no other reason to go see this movie unless it's to see it in 3D. So I went to go see it in 2D because that was our only choice, and I am happy that I saw it in 2D because it let me see that the whole 3D thing here is nothing but a gimmick.
Well, the thing is, I felt like even like a bigger asshole because I looked at the lady and I was like, "Yeah, I'll take one for Shark Night 3D." She's like, "All right, that'll be $10," and I was like, $10? Really? Is there a discount going on or something? She's like, "No." And I got my ticket and I was like, I need 3D glasses. And she was like,
what?
It's not 3D. I was like, but the title is called Shark Night 3D. Yeah, I know, but it's not 3D. And she looked at me like I was the biggest fucking idiot to ever walk in the theater. And I was like, really, lady?
Like, did anybody think of this when they were like, with the marketing or the studio think of this when they were putting this movie out in theaters? Like, okay, we're going to show this in 2D in some theaters, but yet we're still going to keep 3D on the posters.
Why did they even make a 2D print at all? Why would they even manufacture that?
Why did they make any print?
I was like,
at all?
hey,
Yeah, well, there's that.
Isn't this called false advertising, lady?
Well, hey, you have to appreciate the fact that she didn't charge you that extra $3 and give you a pair of 3D glasses.
That's true.
To send you into a 2D movie.
I'm betting
Just
yeah.
so you can sit there going like, man, the 3D is they just really half-assed it on this. While she's busy counting that extra $3.
Or they just gave you glasses anyway.
I would have preferred that. I would have preferred that. I was like, you know what? If you're gonna go see it, take your sunglasses and bring a fucking snorkel too. Might as well enjoy the full experience, which we didn't get to have. So.
Oh boy, I tell you, man, this
That's
movie.
insane.
Well, hey, man, it sounds like y'all had a blast. It must have been a fun movie.
This is going to be.
Is that what it sounds like?
No,
I hear a lot of laughing in the room. I don't know.
You know what?
It's on another level of retarded.
This review for me is going to have some layers to it. I'm kind of conflicted here, and I'm not conflicted. It's just that I got two different things to say about this movie, but I have to ultimately come to one decision based on what this movie did and what it's doing to audiences out there, because this is Shark Night 3D, and we're thinking in this day and age. Okay, look, them Piranhas had a movie, and those Piranhas 3D. And let me tell you what those piranhas have over sharks. Because everybody says sharks, man. Sharks are terrifying. Sharks have had millions of years of evolution to be a killing machine. Piranhas ain't got nothing on a shark. Well, let me tell you what piranhas have. Piranhas have titties. in that movie, piranhas.
I was
have,
gonna say, wait, what?
Yeah,
I've never seen.
I know. I had to clarify that. I had to say in that movie. Now, piranhas are not afraid to film nudity and titties in that movie.
Okay, I thought you meant piranha fish have titties. I'm like, what the hell?
That's the last thing that happens before you die is that you get to cop a field.
Yeah. Before they eat your ass, make sure you got your arm out so you can like grab a nipple or something real quick. No, the piranhas have gore in their movie. They have blood. They're not afraid They're not afraid to take it to a rated R level.
Was this PG-13?
This movie is PG-13, and so and it has all the elements of being that rated R movie that Piranha 3D was. Now, we can't have a killer shark movie unless we have a bunch of kids to feed to the sharks. In this case, we have a group of college students that cover all the stereotypical bases. We start out with the jock, who in this case is extra stereotypy because he happens to be a black athlete who, if he doesn't make his grades, then he can't play, he can't graduate, and he can't make it out the projects. He's tutored by and friends with the smart but sexy guy, who's roommates with the nerdy guy, who's funny but just can't really hit it off with the girls. They're going to hang out at the house of the sweet little blonde college student. Wouldn't hurt to fly, this girl, but sexy still. She hangs out with her total opposite, the slutty chick. Oh, and they got to have the token Latina chick tag along because, well, they got to have another minority date the black guy. Now, if that's not enough, we have more to go here. On their way out to the river house that they're staying in the Louisiana Bayou, they stop at the gas station. You know that gas station, the one where before you go out into the woods, you run into the rednecks. That's right. They run into some stereotypical rednecks here who you got to like them because they got everything you want in a redneck. I mean, they're racist, but they also hate them. They're college students that look down on simple folk like them.
This movie starts off like a Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah, that's what it sounds
that's
like.
exactly
Sounds
how
like
it
a
starts
Mad
off.
Libs of horror movies.
Every typical stereotype in here, and you're just wondering, okay, these characters are so fucking paper thin. Who gives a shit? They're all food. Let's get to it, all right? Because this is like, I don't need all this backstory with these kids in college. Who gives a fuck at this point? And the thing is that when you're watching the movie, you see all these typical cliches, but it's like, man, this seems like I'm watching a fucking CW movie already for some reason, just because it's plagued with bad acting. And the thing is, I don't know if they ever gave them a location to where it was, but it seemed like they were out in the Louisiana swamps.
It was. They were. They were in the bayou.
Okay.
They were. Yeah, they say that.
Wait,
They're in
They're in a
Louisiana.
bayou.
I'm sorry.
Isn't
There's
this
no sharks anywhere near.
Well, that's that's the whole thing about the movie. When they get out there to this bayou area, they find these sharks out there, and it turns out to ruin a movie like this is
You're not ruining
no,
shit,
it's
dude.
like it would be stupid to say so, but for those people who would yell spoiler, I'm not going to give away how the sharks get out to the bayou, but
or how a saltwater animal is living in fresh water.
well, see, that's all explained in the movie. I mean,
Okay.
they know that much. They explain like, okay, this is a salt water river right here, so it's possible. How did the sharks get out there? Well, as the movie goes along, we'll get to that and explain to you how that happens because there is a little twist here to explain all that. What they explain before they do that though is like, hey, before we get out here, we just want to let you know there's no reception. I mean, they pretty much might as well just look at the camera and say, hey, we're not going to be able to call anybody because the cell phones don't work. And
Which makes you think that, this isn't Friday the 13th movie. You don't need to explain why there's no cell phones because what are you going to do if you do have a cell phone and it works? You're going to be fucking out there. Sharks are attacking you. You're just going to like call somebody. Why do you even need that? Honestly, it's like you could set up a premise where a shark was attacking people. They did it with Jaws, but they feel like they need to bring in this element of fucking what these cell phones don't work because they bring it up constantly just to let you know how helpless these people are, even though. When you look at where they're at, it makes no sense. They have like this huge fucking house out there. They have a gas tank out there by this. I guess we're supposed to assume they're on an island.
Yeah.
But it makes no sense because I'm like, you got the nicest fucking house in the world out here. You got a fucking gas tank, and you telling me they were able to put a gas tank out here, but not a fucking telephone,
power.
a fucking power.
I was like,
power
just
line?
for God's sake, stop doing. They so many of the horror movies, they always make this point of this is why there won't be cell phones later.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, look, just set all horror movies at like 1989 or before.
I know.
Just don't even fuck with that excuse. Just say, look, there were no cell phones. Okay, now here's some Duran Duran.
yeah.
or like with these smartphones, they get wet and they're dead, and nobody wants to pay another $500. So like, we just left them all back at the place.
Well, no, he's right. I mean, it's like that's one of the biggest cliches that I hate in a movie nowadays. We're at the age now where you need to cleverly explain to people why there are no cell phones. You just can't say we're in an area where we don't get any reception. I mean, you can't even blame that shit on AT&T.
I was gonna say, like, oh shit, I got AT&T, no bars.
No,
But this movie
AT&T
didn't
is just
need
kind of like, no, we know now. Don't blame that shit on us.
But this movie didn't need it. It's about sharks. I mean, you make it about kids getting attacked, just like they did with fucking Piranha.
Right.
But man, the thing is though, is like a movie like this, and after watching Piranha, and even Deep Blue Sea, where you're like, okay, those movies set up a bar. And with the trailers, you're expecting to see something like that. And let me tell you, you get absolutely nothing. This is the most rated G shark movie I've ever seen, ever. I mean, and the thing is,
since Jabberjaw.
Since that shark's tail.
honestly, and not only that though, but the sharks in this movie, when it cuts to them swimming around, I mean, it looks like they got the cast of Shark Tales running around with the biggest smiles on their face, to where you're like, wow, you guys aren't even trying. And when it comes to the deaths, what you talk about cutaways, where it's like, you know what, we'll cut away, where a director probably say, hey, we'll just cut away to where we'll let their imaginations do the work. And boy, do they make you do the work during all these fucking scenes. I mean, the most gore you get is blood bubbling up in the water.
That's some
honestly.
bullshit.
Yeah,
right there.
That is the
No,
biggest fucking piece
It
of
is.
shit ever.
It is a cross between. They say they do have some animatronic sharks in there. You hardly see it. There's one scene where you probably see that.
You see it on the cutting room floor.
Every time I saw the sharks in this movie, the CG sharks, I could not help but go back and think about the sharks that were in therapy in Finding Nemo. so those sharks were a lot more scary than these fucking sharks in this movie. I've never seen somebody have CG effects like this and still make it look like a fucking hand puppet. It's the problem with the film is that, okay, you're not.
The soundtrack is just some guy going dun 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 dun.
They might as well. They ripped off like a scene completely from Jaws at the beginning of this film.
Well, the way the sharks look, they might as well have been singing that themselves.
They're too busy laughing. Yeah. They're too busy laughing underwater to do
No, every
that.
time you saw a shark, they looked like they were about to say hello, But I mean, it's like I hate to keep harping on the PG-13 part of this, but really, if you are, the movie needs to go one of two ways. You need to either you have to have a clever premise for it if you're not going to give us any exploitation, gore, and nudity, and they don't have that. As Coho said here, it's pretty much a Friday the 13th setup that we see for all kids getting killed in a horror movie type setup, and that's as if that's not bad enough. They take their time to get to the shark part. I mean, the movie actually is cute before it gets there. That's why I'm saying this is this is supposed to be sort of a thriller. Before you get out there, you almost forget that you're watching anything that's going to kill anybody, because when they get on the road, we're treated to not one but two montages of the camera sped up, the people running around acting wacky. There's one part when they're on their way to the river house, and it looks like about a 60-second long car commercial. Because you see the point of view of the car on the road, they speed up and show you the fucking trip, the whole trip there.
It's like those goddamn MTV intros to every show they have, every reality show they have, where it's like they want to show you their main characters having a blast, where they're out on the beach, and you see them like running to a party where it's fast forward, while during this awful fucking music that they were playing.
So it sounds like they had $18 to make this movie.
I mean,
They did.
And they just stretched it out as much as possible.
Was there even a celebrity or anybody known in here to get people
Actually,
to the
yeah,
theater?
there's
you got Sarah Paxton. And the
okay.
only thing I remember her from is like a small independent movie called The Innkeepers. Do you remember we saw that? Right?
Yeah.
She's the mermaid in Aquamarine.
Oh, that's right. That was her.
I didn't see that.
She hadn't been in anything for a while that's been major, and this is
So not a big name actor.
Not a big name. Donald Logue plays a sheriff in here.
I know Donald
Which
Logue
sucks
is.
because I actually like that
everybody
guy.
likes
And you're
Donald
like,
Logue.
what are you doing here?
Well,
And the thing is, about this is
his TV show got canceled.
Yeah.
So.
With Terriers.
that poor guy.
This is the kind of movie where you're going to have people either have their careers go down or have their careers go up. The only thing I could say that's probably good for anybody in this movie is that you have this a guy named Chris Carmack in it who's about to be Flash Gordon. And then, not Flash Thompson in the Amazing Spider-Man movie. So this is going to be the movie that he looks back on when he starts to get like famous. He's going to be like, yes, goddammit, I did Shark Night. Okay, look at what I'm doing now. I had to get somewhere. Okay,
He needs to call Jennifer Aniston and go, hey, how did you handle success realizing that you did the first Leprechaun?
I'm not entirely sure that like Flash Thompson is going to be the springboard to giant success. But
You haven't seen this movie.
Cookie cutter shark. Goodbye, boys. Your normal diet is nothing more than skin, blubber, and flesh.
Dude. We have to tell them though. There's a scene where somebody, I won't say who, no spoilers. somebody gets their arm bit, and the special effects are not so special when you realize that the guy who had his arm bit, he was wearing a hoodie. And there's a scene where you see him without an arm, but you see his arm inside the hoodie to where this guy gained like an extra like 5 pounds.
This is how ridiculous the movie is. I mean, and see, that's another problem with the film. There was a time when this movie was going to be called Untitled Shark 3D Thriller or something like that. And it makes you think like, okay, these people have a sense of humor about it. And it looks like they were trying to and didn't really push it enough in any area, including that humor. I mean, there's no way they could have looked. And I'm going to tell them. I mean, fuck it. It's the black guy. They show the guy in the trailer like, pretty much dying. There's points in this movie.
What, the black guy dies?
But not first, even though the shark did try.
Okay, so that's the one place where they mix it up.
Yeah,
we're going to do something new.
He died second.
Yeah, it was funny because the shark was like, black guys die first in the movie, so I'm going for him. And the black guy got away and like, fuck, the shark was like, damn,
Sweet
all right.
meat right there.
Yeah, I'll let that brother have it. You won this time, Mr. Black
To be
Man.
fair,
But
as a carnivore, the dark meat is tastier.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Black is the berry, the sweet is the
The
juice.
sharks go for like the brown and the black people first. They don't always succeed, but they try.
well, they're like, these guys clearly can't swim, so they're going to be the easiest ones to catch.
No, Cinqua Walls is a guy who plays a black guy.
Cinqua Walls?
Cinqua Walls, yeah. I don't know. That's some Shaka Zulu type shit. I don't know. But anyway, the guy, he gets his arm bitten off in the movie. It happens very early on. Now, this brother goes from like, oh, I'm dying. It's so cold. Help me, don't hold me. Just hold me. And then the next scene, he's standing up on the beach with a spear in his hand, talking to, and this is after he finds out somebody very close to him has died. And he's like, oh no, y'all take one of mine, I'm gonna take one of yours. It's like, wasn't this dude just dying a little while ago? He's lost so much blood, and then, and he's right. And it's like, okay, this is silly. I guess they're doing this for laughs. It's not really working, but whatever. I'm laughing, but anyway. But it gets even crazy because, yes, in his jacket, they don't have enough money to like make really cool special effects. It all went to like making his arm missing in the first place. It looks like he has a little Siamese twin under there. And I was like, wow, y'all just don't give a fuck in this movie.
And to add insult to injury, I couldn't help but think, wow, where did this guy just get this spear all of a sudden? How racist can this movie get?
I know.
They need to stop that because this guy is like behind a fire. He's like, I'm going to kill it. And he has like a spear like fucking Africa or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, where did this spear come from?
This brother should be on the beach talking about Ungawa.
Ungawa. That's exactly
they
what he
cut back to another scene. You see him in the background with a bone in his nose.
Yeah, every time you see him.
And then some plates in his lip.
Every time you see him, it's like he's wearing less clothes until he gets to a loincloth. He's got rings around his neck till his neck is 5 feet high. He can walk in the water like a periscope and shit. No, it's all of this I'm laughing about in the movie. Him and I sitting there, we're having a great time just joking about the film. It's a midnight movie. People in the theater, they're making jokes and the whole theater is laughing with them. And
the whole theater was talking throughout the entire movie. I mean, that's how nobody gave a shit. You just couldn't give a shit.
Yeah, and so I'm thinking like, all right, you know what? Normally I would walk out of this and I would say, hey, you know something? It's a terrible movie. But I laughed, and if I saw it on TV, I would be all right. It's a rental. No, fuck that, because this is what they're doing. I want to tell people just to get to the point, this movie is a ripoff. As much as we say 3D is a gimmick, this is the biggest gimmick yet, because we were talking about this. This is a film. The reason why it's so tame, the reason why there's no nudity, the reason why it's so bloodless, and the reason why the gore is so light is because they want to cash in on Shark Week. This is going to be playing on TV somewhere when Shark Week comes out.
Yeah,
and they're not going to have to do too much editing for it or anything. They're just going to be able to put it on there. The reason why they put it in 3D is because it was a cheap movie to make, and they want to. That's the only way they're going to get people to see this. It's directed like a TV film. It feels like a TV film in the way it's produced, in the way that it's shot. There are certain parts where you have people standing out in the dark and you got one big studio light just blazing down on them. And I find this surprising because the director of this movie is David R. Ellis. And the thing with David R. Ellis is that he directed Snakes on a Plane. And Snakes on a Plane, look, you can say what you want to about it. It didn't do that well. It wasn't the hit that people thought it would be, but at least it was funny. And this movie is missing that. And this guy, he's directed thrillers that, while they might have not been critically praised, at least they look like movies that go on the big screen. I'm talking about movies like Cellular, Asylum. He did Final Destination 2, the one, that great car crash, and he did the Final Destination, which is the worst of the series, but whatever. And let's not forget the scariest thing that he did, which is Homeward Bound 2, Lost in San Francisco. Right. If anybody pays a 3D price, I mean, if anybody pays any money to go see this at the theater, $10 a ticket, no fucking way, man. That $10, first of all, you pay for a regular ticket price, that goes to your cable bill that you should be able to watch this movie on.
Yeah.
To pay any more for a pair of 3D glasses to watch this, that's pretty much a scam. And I'm really close to giving this movie a fuck you, because that's just wrong to do that to people for this film.
So what?
Don't worry, I'll do it. Fuck you, film. Yeah, because you know what? This is kind of embarrassing, because I mean, yeah, we had a good time watching it, but I mean, it's like, man, they just did not give a fuck. I mean, they threw together some bullshit premise. They took formulas from every other horror movie you can think of, and they did absolutely nothing with it. They were so fucking lazy. And there's a point when you're like, man, this is goofy as hell. I mean, I want to see Elvira fucking host this movie at some point, down the road.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's bullshit. The only reason why I'm not saying fuck you is because I would feel kind of bad saying that, because I did.
Why?
I did, because if you find yourself in a theater, if somebody dupes you into seeing it, I think you're actually going to like say, you know what, man, I wish I hadn't paid for this, but I was here with you. I had a good time laughing at this. Nobody gave a fuck. But I'm telling people, do not be fooled by this. Stay away from the theater. This is a ripoff. So stay clear. You've been warned.
So you're giving it some old bullshit instead of a fuck you?
Yeah, I'm giving it some old bullshit. Yeah.
Hey, for the captain, that's a big deal.
That is a big deal. I mean, because the thing is, I know I'm going to get my money back regardless. Anybody else out there, man, I apologize.
I love it.
That
It's
you
like-
even
like
got a
this-
bullshit, because this is the bottom of the fucking barrel.
If you want to
It
watch
really
like
is.
a fake exploitation film with no tits or gore, watch the Sci-Fi Channel. That's all they show on there half the time is terrible made for Sci-Fi Channel movies with no actual tits or gore. on
you
it.
want the experience.
Why go to the theater?
You want the
and
experience
pay
of this
for it?
movie? Fucking sit down. If you got a fish aquarium, sit down in the fucking on the carpet. Look straight in your fish aquarium. That's about as exciting as this movie gets.
Yeah.
All right.
Grab your goldfish and bring it close to your face. Act like it's a shark jumping at. And you know what, Cyrus? I mean, you make a good point. I avoided saying that it's specifically a sci-fi movie, because sci-fi movies, they might not have the budget. They might be worse off production-wise in this movie, but they make weird shit. And when you
Sometimes Sharktopus is what you want to see.
when you
I
see
admit.
something like that, that's a little more inspired than what you got here.
And this movie is missing the sigh and the fi, by the
Yeah.
way. So yeah.
It's a shark wouldn't eat you because it's like your ass is too dumb to eat because you paid for this movie.
Yeah,
I like it. Look, it's such a generic title, Shark Night 3D, that alone made me laugh. But I was like, at this point, they are so blatant about that. They should do what Ko suggested earlier and just call it Shark Takes a Bite Out of Hot Ass 3D. That was his words earlier. I was like, wow, I'd go see that.
Actually,
I agree.
you
Make that poster.
You actually saw a shark take a bite out of some hot ass. You don't see that.
Yeah, that's not in this movie. When the sequel comes,
You want to know who takes a bite out of your ass? That ticket person at the window when they take your money. That's who.
Exactly.
That's the fucking horror movie right there.